Hey guys, as promised, in this video I'm going to talk about how to use the vocabulary and expressions that we learn, or in other words, how to transform passive vocabulary into active vocabulary. So I'm using a very simple analogy. Let's say our vocabulary is like a banking account. So there are usually two types of banking accounts that we have. One is checking account, the other one is the savings account. Okay, so just give some context info. A savings account is a place to deposit your money that you want to accumulate in the long run. However, your checking account is the place for you to deposit your money that you would be able to use on a daily basis. And in my opinion, learning new vocabulary is like depositing the money into your savings account. So yeah, it is undeniable that it has already become your money. However, you would not be able to use it on a daily basis, which is you are not able to incorporate into your speaking or writing. So the goal is to transfer the money from the savings account to the checking account. And how do we accomplish that? Well, there is a very easy and efficient strategy. Read it out loud, pronounce it, let it go through your mouth. Well, you can think about this regarding your own experience. Usually our main objective of learning the vocabulary is to learn its meaning. We rarely pay attention to its pronunciation. And I think that actually is the problem. Like, how would you able to use the vocabulary or expressions if you are not able to pronounce them? Well, take my own example. Recently, I've been reading some articles out loud, and I realized there were so many words that I could recognize, but I didn't know their pronunciation. Like the word hallucinatorily. Well, I knew it has something to do with hallucination, but if you asked me to pronounce it, I had no idea in the first place, because there are so many syllables in this word, like hallucinatorily, and I don't know which syllable to stress. Like, is it hallucinatorily or hallucinatorily or hallucinatorily? I had no idea. And because of my incapability of pronouncing it, I would never use it in my speaking. So yeah, reading something out loud, just let it go through your mouth. This action itself is trying to transfer the money from the savings account to the checking account. And if you listen to podcasts or you watch some speeches, just read after them. And language learning wise, having a big number of passive vocabulary is not doing any good. It's not comparable to your savings account. Like, you get interest back by accumulating as much money as you can. Instead, the more money you have on your checking account, on your knowledge checking account, the more capable you would be able to increase the diversity of your expression and to leverage this language tool to boost your communication efficiency. So yeah, speaking specifically, don't keep your mouth shut. Since you've already put so much effort into learning new vocabulary, why don't you find a chance to show it off, to show what you have learned, to show your knowledge? Alright, this is the end of this video. If you like it, please 一键三连, and I will see you in the next one. Bye bye. Hey guys, share a very brief story. So during the spring break, I went to my friend's home. She's an American, and we watched Frozen 2 together. Well, that was technically my first time watching an English movie without Chinese subtitles. And I suddenly realized, oh, this is something that I couldn't imagine like several years ago. So in this video, let's talk about subtitles. Are you able to watch English content, English videos without subtitles? Well, first of all, why do we need subtitles? The scenes and settings that are portrayed in English TV dramas and movies are closely related to real-life situations. And that's why the actors and actresses would carry on their own unique accents and speaking habits. So you could frequently see that people slur their words, people use acronyms, and those are drastically different from the standardized audios in textbook. And second of all, there are many ambiguous pronunciations like b and p. It's really hard to differentiate without enough context information. So how do we take advantage of subtitles? How do we utilize this tool while we practice our listening? First thing first, we have to be clear about a premise of listening practice, which is we've already had some prior knowledge of the vocabulary or expression. We know their pronunciations, we know their spellings and their meanings. And then in real context, in conversations, in movies, we encounter them again and our understanding gets strengthened. For practice, definitely utilize English videos. Yeah, first recommendation is YouTube videos. I can't emphasize this enough. You will be able to practice your listening by using different versions of subtitles while you satisfy your intellectual curiosity. The second suggestion would be dubbing English movies. Well, I find this really helpful personally because while you dub a video, you have to pay close attention to the speaker's pronunciation and you try to match your pronunciation to the speaker's, to the standardized pronunciation as much as possible. Here, I would like to recommend an app that is tailored to train your listening skills with the help of English TV dramas and movies, Cheesepie. So you would first be prompted to take a vocabulary test and the algorithm would automatically adjust the content. And specifically, they adopt the I+1 principle, which basically says they try to maximize your efficiency by adding one level of difficulty to your current level. And most of the listening materials come from classic English movies like Flipped. So they're really fun to learn. Basically, your learning process would be slipped into 4 steps. So you would first grasp the basic idea, then dive into the script to get a better comprehension. After that, you get access to the entire script. And lastly, you would test your learning outcome by watching the video one more time. So the point is to actively comparing the audio source with the text source, which is the subtitles, and match them. And one more thing, if you finish all assignments for 16 consecutive days, you will get a gift from Cheesepie. So with all those being said, English practice is a gradual process. Learning the pronunciation comes to be the priority, and then you try to increase your tolerance of the pronunciation by listening to different people pronouncing the same thing. And also, you have to realize the ambiguity of pronunciation is pretty common, which means it's okay if you miss information when you listen to other people, when you listen to the audio source. So yeah, feel free to ask for further explanation or clarification if you talk to real people. And listening practice is not exclusively practice and listening. It also incorporates other training of speaking, of vocabulary learning, and even writing. Yeah, it takes time, it takes effort, but just one step at a time and you'll be able to achieve something. Alright, this is the end of this video. If you like it, please 一键三连. I will see you in the next one. Bye bye. Hey guys, I'm outside. I'm on the lawn. See? People are taking graduation photos. Anyways, hello everyone. Today I would like to briefly introduce a method to expand your vocabulary horizontally and increase the diversity of your expressions. Okay, so the biggest idea and the main rule you have to bear in mind is to intentionally and consciously build vocabulary chains. So what are vocabulary chains? If each expression or vocabulary is denoted as a node, categorizing synonyms is the process of tying the nodes that share similar meanings onto a chain. And as we acquire new knowledge, as we keep learning, we're growing our chains. Okay, so for example, the first English word that I learned to describe the Chinese meaning 疲惫 might be tired, which is a $1 word. And later, I learned another word, exhausted, which could be translated as 精疲力竭的. So what I'm doing here is not to associate exhausted with a different Chinese meaning 精疲力竭的. I am directly adding this node to the chain that is led by tired. So instead of associating English vocabulary with different and multiple Chinese meanings and converge all those Chinese meanings into a central idea, I directly tie English words together and build those vocabulary chains. Well, for one thing, it's more efficient because you are skipping a step of translating everything to their corresponding Chinese meanings. Another advantage is whenever I would like to express the idea of 疲惫的, I have a chain of vocabularies. I have multiple choices to pick from. And even if I just pick one option, I just retrieve one single node, the entire chain would be activated and I'm refreshing my memory. I'm strengthening my comprehension of this single meaning and this vocabulary chain. And the second strategy is to use slashes as much as possible when you convey ideas, when you deliver information, and when you express yourself. Well, you might just have noticed I use 3 expressions in parallel to express the same meaning. And this is an example of what I said by using slashes. Well, when you speak, you don't have to say all those options out loud, but you can do that mentally. At least have the intention of listing multiple choices. In writing, it's even easier to implement. So, if I describe a situation like social isolation is depressing / frustrating / disappointing. Writing down all the options is a good practice for your memory, and you can pick the most appropriate one based on the current context. And no matter what option you pick, in the end, you can always try a different one in a future context. So yeah, actively categorizing vocabulary and building those vocabulary chains is one thing. Retrieving the entire chain and refreshing your memory every time you just pick a single note is also important. Yes, learning new vocabulary is a long journey, but those are the strategies you could try to make it less burdensome. Alright, this is the end of this video. If you like it, please 一键三连, and I will see you in the next one. Bye bye! Hey guys, I realized I haven't filmed a vertical video for a long time. So here it is. Well, I'm just in the mood of speaking, so it would be a random chit chat video. Just now I was browsing your comments on my videos on Bilibili, and there's one comment that drew my attention. So somebody asked, can you give advice to people who don't have this English speaking environment? Well, I would say a language environment is definitely helpful. It expedites your learning process, but it's not a necessity. So if you follow along my channel, if you follow along my learning trajectory, you could see how I practiced English when I was in China, when I was not in this language environment. I think you could pretty much achieve the goal of utilizing English as a language tool in a work setting or an academic setting without the boost of a language environment. And this is associated with how you actually learn a new language, or what is the essence of language learning. I went to my friend's home a month ago during the spring break, and she is Vietnamese American. And I think technically she is a third generation, and her parent generation usually mix Vietnamese with English when they communicate with each other. And some expressions, some vocabulary only exist in Vietnamese. So when they introduced the food to me, they would say, oh, what you're eating is called nam vi. Now, nam vi is in Vietnamese. It's pretty good. It's like another form of spring rolls.
So let it like this, and then you wrap it.
You don't put any sauce in it?
Oh, the sauce is on the side.
Oh, you dip it.
Dip it, yeah.
Oh, okay.
You wrap it.
Put mint in there for it?
Yeah, this is Gogon's mat. And then you wrap it like a spring roll, and then you eat it.
Oh, that's good.
And we also talked about other food ingredients. So for example, cilantro in Vietnamese is no. And just one day after, my friend's auntie asked her to buy some no for dinner. And I was there, I heard their conversation, and I asked, oh, are you asking her to buy some cilantro? And her auntie was like, oh, you know what no is? And I was like, ah, yes, because you said that on yesterday's dinner. Well, the point I want to make here is we learn new vocabulary, we learn another language, or we learn new things in general by picking them up. So in my example, they said no to me and associated this new vocabulary to something that I've already known, and I would be able to use this piece of information in my future expressions. So it's like a process of assimilating something that was not accessible to you in the past, but from a certain point, you pick it up, you put it into your knowledge bank, and that's how we enrich our knowledge. So me right now, I'm still in the process of picking things up. However, the difference is, in the past, I was treating English as a subject, but right now, English is more like a tool. It's more like a vehicle, and it delivers information. So we learn things from classes, we obtain new knowledge in the form of English. So I'm no longer learning English exclusively, I'm learning English as a byproduct of using this vehicle to deliver information and get access to other knowledge. So the biggest difference between learning a language in a language environment versus a non-native language environment is the diversity of resources you could pick up information from. So yeah, in this English-speaking country, I have more options to learn. I could pick up stuff just by simply communicating with native speakers, by just chatting with my friend, because she brings up a lot of native expressions that I'm not familiar with, and I usually ask for further explanation. So after she explains the meaning to me, I'm doing the work of picking that information up and add it to my knowledge base. Similarly, picking things up applies to other contexts. So for example, if you don't have native speakers around, you have no one to talk to, you can pick up stuff from books, from videos, from many online resources. The platform, the resources could be versatile, but the essence is the same. If you want to learn, if you want to improve, you have to pick up new things. Sometimes it's a matter of your mental effort, your motivation, whether you want to pick things up, whether you are open to embrace new information. Yeah, this is also a reflection on my own journey of English learning. There isn't an end, there isn't a destination. There are always things out there that you have no knowledge of. Just be aware of their existence, pick them up, and they will become yours eventually. Okay, so this is the end of this video. If you like it, please 一键三连, and I will see you in the next one. Bye bye!